Although The Iron Claw is a terribly depressing, there is some hope at the conclusion. The Iron Claw, which is based on the real-life story of the Von Erich family, stars Holt McCallany, Jeremy Allen White, and Zac Efron as the many members of the illustrious wrestling family. The biopic, which was written and directed by Sean Durkin and has gotten favorable reviews, concludes with Kerry's suicide in 1993. Following his motorbike injury, Kerry used painkillers for years before developing a drug addiction. When Kerry called Kevin to tell him he was giving up, Kevin reassured him that everything would work out. Although Kevin was unable to reach him at that time, he called Fritz Von Erich, their father. Kerry commits suicide under the tree in the front yard of the boys' childhood house, using the exact gun that he gave Fritz as a Christmas present. Kerry is located by Kevin, who carries him back inside the house. Kevin chooses to sell his father's business following the death of his sibling in order to provide a better life for his expanding family with Pam. Fritz is upset with Kevin, but Kevin is not as affected by his father's anger now that he has lost all of his brothers. As the Iron Claw comes to a close, Kevin is outside watching his boys play. Kevin thought the Von Erich family was doomed to experience a string of misfortunes. Kevin made sure his children were born with the Adkisson surname, which is his family's original surname, because of the curse. But when Marshall and Ross, Kevin's two sons, were pro wrestlers in the 2010s, they would adopt the Von Erich moniker. It's possible that Kevin's kids wish to pay tribute to their late relatives and relations. Since the Von Erich name has been in their wrestling family for many years, Kevin doesn't genuinely think it's cursed. According to Forbes, Marshall and Ross value their Von Erich surname and have continued to use it in honor of their ancestry. Despite having the most preparation, Kevin was consistently passed over to compete as the heavyweight champion. But Fritz felt David was stronger and could accomplish things Kevin couldn't, so he picked him over Kevin. Furthermore, Fritz didn't believe Kevin wanted it badly enough. The patriarch thought Kevin's showmanship was more impressive than his wrestling prowess, which led Fritz to decide to center David, even though Kevin was first in line. Initially, Kevin was jealous of his brother, but he soon realized it wasn't what he really wanted. Instead, he was just happy to wrestle with his family, and that's what he continued to concentrate on. Following David's passing, Kerry, his younger brother, was chosen to challenge for the NWA World Heavyweight Champion title, which Kerry ultimately prevailed over David in a battle against opponent Ric Flair. Fritz didn't perceive Kevin's potential the way he saw his other sons, which is why Kevin was always chosen over one of his siblings, including Mike. Kevin never prevailed in his final matchup with Ric Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship title. Fritz was fixated on winning it, thus the championship held great significance for him. However, he felt that Kevin was never qualified for it. Kevin Von Erich has only talked well of his father despite their past and believes that he is the greatest man to ever live, via Wrestling Incorporated. 5 of Fritz and Doris Von Erich's 6 boys survived to adulthood. Pam is informed by Kevin that he is actually the second Von Erich's son, not the oldest. Born in 1952, Jack Barton Adkisson, Jr. was the eldest and passed away at the age of 6. The Iron Claw only makes a passing reference to his passing when Kevin says that he previously had a brother, but then didn't. In actuality, Jack Jr. was electrocuted after touching a trailer tongue, and he drowned when he slid into a snow puddle. At the time, Kevin was just 2 years old. Even though The Iron Claw is based on a real story, not every aspect of the Von Erich family's existence is depicted in the film. Chris Von Erich, the youngest brother, doesn't appear in the movie at all. Chris, a wrestler as well, took his own life in 1991 at the age of 21, 40 years after Mike passed away. Additionally, Kerry was married and had 2 kids of his own, yet The Iron Claw doesn't mention them at all. When he passed away in 1993, Kerry got divorced from his spouse. One of his kids, Lacey Von Erich, would become a professional wrestler like her dad. Kerry's suicide alters events as well. Fritz, not Kevin, finds him after he commits suicide thanks to the Iron Claw. Since Kevin is the main character in the movie, it's probable that this was changed. Furthermore, although Kevin's first 2 children were daughters, Kristen and Jillian Adkisson, are depicted in the biopic as his 2 sons. Marshall and Ross were not even born until 1988 and 1992, respectively, even though the movie shows them as being older when Kerry passed away. The marriage of Fritz and Doris is mentioned in passing in The Iron Claw, although it isn't given a lot of attention. 1992 saw the couple's divorce following 42 years of marriage. Later, after Kevin and Pam had moved to Hawaii, Doris acquired a ranch there. She remained there until her death in 2015 at the age of 82. Fritz was a resident of Texas until 1997, when he passed away from lung and brain cancer at the age of 68. Together, Pam and Kevin have 4 children and countless grandkids, living on their farm. In 2023, they relocated back to Texas. Kevin mostly faded from view after leaving the world of professional wrestling to work in investments. The finale of Iron Claw has a strong emotional impact. The significance of Kevin's bond with his brothers is emphasized in the film's conclusion, despite the fact that the Von Erich family's wrestling heritage is the main focus of the movie. All in all, Kevin made an effort to prioritize his brothers, and the movie is as much a love letter to them as it is anything else. The catastrophes that have tainted the family's history in the decades since are subordinated to the love and care they've shown for one another, and the fact that they always had each other's backs. The film is primarily driven by themes of love and sadness. The Iron Claw also shows how parental pressure impacts children's mental and emotional well-being, particularly when it comes to pushing someone too far for their own good. Fritz was more concerned about what winning the NWA World Heavyweight Championship would imply for the family's reputation than he was about his boys. The conclusion of Iron Claw highlighted the ways in which Kevin and Fritz, who frequently disagreed, differed from one another, and from one another's familial dynamics. Fritz prioritized recognition over his family's necessities, while Kevin prioritized his family, even selling his father's business to support Pam and their kids.